It's not really a place that I know. I made it up. But it looks like it could be a place in Miami. And it'd be a nice getaway, wouldn't it? But the painting part of this is what I want to tell you about. This is very, very thick. I put it on thick today. It's acrylic, first of all. Yeah, I laid it on thick. I did it with brushes. You probably could do it with a palette knife. I'm a little bit nervous about doing that, to be honest with you. But it's very thick. You'll see as you watch the video. And so that's called impasto. I-M-P-A-S-T-O. When you lay it on really thick. And also the approach is very impressionistic, meaning very loose. I'm not worried about painting exact leaves on trees or exact bricks on buildings or exact anything. It's just a way to express an idea on a canvas. And I was reading something the other day where somebody expressed the opinion that when photography was invented, it gave artists the freedom to try to do things that were more impressionistic and more abstract. And so I actually agree with that. I think photography is a beautiful, wonderful art, and it does take the place of realistic paintings. That's not to say you shouldn't do realistic. No, I have strived most of my life to do realistic. I think for me personally, doing something more impasto or more impressionistic is something relatively new for me, only because I had done so many realism portraits and realism landscapes using all kinds of mediums. I've used pastel was did pastel for a long time, and I did watercolor on cards for about a year. I did it right here on Poppa Paints. Kind of went through that watercolor stage. And so now it's not the medium of acrylic that's so much. It's the approach of impasto and the approach of impressionism. The reason I think for the videos that I'm doing acrylic is because it dries quicker, even though in this particular painting you'll see that I used a slow drying gel. In fact, I used this. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. It's called a slow drying gel. It's made by Liquitex, and it kind of helped it slow it because I didn't want this to dry really quickly. So I guess I could have just done oils. Maybe I'll do that in one of the next paintings. Just grab the oils. I got a bunch of oil paints. I just don't use them very often. But all right, well, let me show you how I did this one right now. Our Miami getaway. Good morning. I have my palette of colors. I have some reds and oranges and yellows and some 3 shades of blue. I have Payne's gray, white, kind of an off-white. I think it's called dark titanium white. And I have a pre-painted canvas that I did yesterday, and it's painted as an underpainting of orange tones. So I thought I would start with that, and I'm going to try to do this very thick impasto. So let's start with the concept. The concept is to start 1/3 of the way down, right here. Just start right there. Put this dark blue right there. Try to make it as straight as possible. Bring it down around the side. Yeah, that's good. Looks like a good beginning. Now I want to use that point right there as the vanishing point. So that means that the lines come from here to here. And also, I want to put a building about 1/3 of the way in. So this is 1/3 of the way up, and this is going to be 1/3 of the way in. So let's just go ahead and put that line there. And then this vanishing point is also going to control or determine this line here. So this is going to go straight down to here, if you can imagine it. And then the bottom of the building will also be determined by it. So here we go here. So that goes over to there. We'll put a second building in here. How about that? Just a second building, the top of that building. And that would also be determined by this, just a little bit. There we go. Put the rest of that line right there. Okay, that didn't need to be there, but that's okay. Now this line here is going to be, let's see, over here. It's a little bit off to the side there. So that building is a little behind the other building. And maybe on the horizon, a couple of small buildings also that don't necessarily need to be included in on that idea, just to put them in there. All right, then we want this water to come around here, so we want this to be like that. All right, so now we're gonna put this in real deep. And see what we can come up with. Some ideas here. And I'll try to make the top of the painting as dark as the bottom, just to see what happens here. And I'll try to do it in such a way so that the paint stays wet the whole time I'm doing it. And for that, I have this, it's called slow dry gel. That's what it's called, from Liquitex. And I haven't used it yet, but let me open it up and use it. I mean, I've used it in the past, I just haven't used it this time. So what I'm going to do, I'll just use a different brush, and I'll get some of that out of there. And I'll put that all over here so everything dries slower. Just spread it around. So all of that paint dries a little slower than it might have otherwise, because acrylic paint, as you know, dries very quickly. It also has a tendency to lighten the color, the gel, but it only lightens it while it's wet. Once it dries, it'll return to its color. So you have to be aware of that too. Plus, you know, you do have the happy accident moment where, there we go. Okay. Now I think I'll keep that there. Instead of using water, I'm going to use that. So, all right, let me add some more blue here. I want to put it on super thick. Okay, up here too. All the way over to the top of the sky here. Just keep adding it in there. And I might as well turn the canvas over so I can get this edge here. See what I'm doing here? Paint the edge. I already painted it orange yesterday, but I want to get it dark right now. It's not so thick on the edge, but that's okay. The edge doesn't need to be thick. There's the edge some more. Let's bring it down. Okay. I think we have a good start here. Make sure you can see everything in the camera. Let me turn the camera so you can see it better. Hopefully you can see it okay. Now what I want to do is I want to start adding white to it. Right about here. So a third of the way from the right side is where I want the sunlight to be. I'm going to put it in very, very thick. Okay, so we have an idea now of what we're doing here. Go ahead and add some deep hues over here. There we go. And we'll go ahead and add some of this. The idea is to keep it very painterly. Now we want the white hot sun right there. So let me just put that in there. We're going to build around that. So this creates the look of water at the beach here in Florida somewhere. There we go. Just keep building it. Get that white right there. I might have to redo that white. Might have to come back to that. Let's add some yellow there. The yellow could become green with this blue, so you got to be careful to keep it yellow and not mix it in too much with the blue. So to prevent that from happening, I'm going to actually, the green will come in handy down here. So you know what? I'm going to add some green to this ocean here. All right, I keep this very light over here. Bring it. Put a lot of white in there. So down near this horizon we get this nice white, light blue I mean. Let's keep it light. That looks okay. Now we want to gradually get darker as we get to the top. here, we might benefit from mixing that yellow into that blue to make it green. I think it does work. Putting a little bit of that yellow into that blue to turn some of this water green. Yeah, it looks nice. I'm keeping it really thick. Gonna keep adding. I don't think you can make it too thick. I think it's gonna be good just like that. All right, let me get a different brush. I think I will use the water to keep the brushes from drying out. So I might put some water here. All right, now let me get a clean brush. I'm using stiff brushes, by the way, just so you know. All right, let me put some white on here that's pure as can be. Now let's take some of this orange here. I know we already have orange on the palette, on the canvas, but I'm going to put more wet orange now, right here. Some yellows. Right there. That's kind of looking like an ocean, isn't it? All right, let me get a clean brush again. You have to be careful. You just have to be careful with this this yellow and this blue. I don't want it to become part of. I don't want it to be too green over here. I want this to be yellow and orange. So there we go. Put some more yellow here. See, it turns blue right away. Turns blue right away. Let me use some of this, what they call dark titanium white. I'm gonna put some of that down there. That gives a nice look to the beach. Go ahead and add some burnt umber to that in a second. Put some shadows in there. And I'll add some of this slow drying gel there. Let me put some of that up here too, just to spread it around. There we go. Slow drying gel mixed with that dark titanium white. Okay, a little bit of white onto that titanium white because it's also reflecting the light. Look how nice and thick that is. Oh man, it's almost like painting with a palette knife, right? All right, now let's put some white here. We gotta put some more white over here, I think. This needs more white. Down here. Add a little bit more to the reflections in the ocean. Very thick. Yeah, let's not shy away from being thick here. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool to do it this way. Whoops, now I got blue over there. See how quickly the blue gets onto the brush? Okay. Have to keep looking for stiff brushes. Okay, let's go ahead and add a bunch of blue and white over here to kind of fill in the gaps here. Fill them in. Yeah, add some white to that. See, white and blue goes good together. It's not going to contaminate it too bad, but the yellow contaminates the blue and the blue contaminates the yellow unless you want that green tone, you know? But I'm doing it very impasto style. Very thick. Of course, that's intentional. There we go. That looks good. Alright, now I gotta get another brush because they're all contaminated. Alright, let me get some orange into this sky here without contaminating it. This is, I might have to wait until it dries to do this. Add some down here. Grab that yellow and try to mix it in with that white. Here we go. That's kind of fun. All right, put some white right there. Some white right here. On that building too. Okay, here's some raw umber. I'm gonna use raw umber. And I'll use that down here at the edge where I'm going to put green plants in a little bit. Don't forget that's the vanishing point right there. So I gotta remember that. Right there. That on the front of that would be lit. Go ahead and put a door. We've got a round doorway right there. Maybe a little bigger than that. This will have green grass in it. Okay. A little brown over here for the side of that building. And this one too. There we go. And now for the top here, a little bit of a hint of a rooftop. There we go. Okay, now the edge of this beach. There's a little bit of a definition there. And we'll take some of these darker colors and pull them down. Get some of this orange and brown and put it in here, this building, make it darker, but keep it reddish. We can make it, you know, this we can corrupt the red with the yellow, no problem, because that's what we want. We want to go from a reddish brown to a yellow. So that's what I'm going to do. go. A little bit of that brown right there. There we go. A little bit of time. Get some more white in here. There we go. Now we got the basic idea here. And now we can start worrying about some of these details. Now I want to take the blue and yellow and I purposefully want to make a green. So here we go. Make some green with this yellow. This blue. Take some of that Paints gray and put it in the bottom. Give it that shadowed effect. There we go. Let's take some of that yellow and highlight some of these bushes here. Here we go. I'm going to need to change that water, so I'm going to turn off the camera and I'll be right back. Okay, I got some clean water and I looked for some brushes that might help me out here, because this is very, it's very, what do I want to say here? Very, it's needing stiff brushes. This impasto thing is very interesting how to work it. So, all right, so let me try to make a little bit of a hint of some roofs on these houses here. I'm not sure how to do it exactly. Just give some, I guess, some yellow and red, kind of give an orange glow to these roofs. Just something reflecting the light off of from the sun. Yeah. Just something over here. peak here. So you're trying to do impasto, and you realize you gotta sometimes do some very detailed work. Sometimes the idea of impasto seems like you could just do broad brush strokes, very, very, very loose. But there is still some moments where you kind of have to almost do detail like this, but keep it with the almost like a pointillism or stip. What do you call stip? There's a word, I can't think of what it is right now. But anyway, that's stippling. I don't know. Sometimes I forget my language. I forget words. Yes, I'm just trying to make this look like it's got a little bit of a roof on it. This building over here. I'm just doing it very, very stippled. There we go. There's a roof right there. That looks good, I think. There we go. And up here too. We'll do the same thing up here a little bit. A little hint of a roof, because we're kind of looking up at it from the ground. A little hint of a roof right there. Here we go. Now we have our roofs on top of the different buildings. Alright, let's go ahead and create. What shall I create now? What shall I create? Let me darken this right here a little bit. See if I can get that horizon a little bit. How's that look? Does it look alright? Yeah, see, I put that slow dry gel in there. It's definitely doing its job. Definitely keeping it wet. It's very much like oil paint right now. Very much like oil paint. That's cool. That's a very cool effect. It'll still dry quicker than oil paint will, though. Yeah. There we go. Alright, now let's put some let me use some of this paint spray and put some windows in here. Maybe some things over here first. There's little areas that might be openings. Maybe they're just places where people inside can peek through. Windows, I guess you call them windows. A place where people can peek through, that's a window. Can you imagine life without windows? There's a building in New York that has no windows. It's a mystery, I don't know what it is. I suppose somebody does. But can you imagine, like, before windows were invented, or just had an opening like in the Flintstones? Everybody was you just had a hole in the wall. The wind came in, the rain came in. I wonder if that was, I guess that's in log cabin days too, right? They had that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Not sure what that is, but that looks pretty good. Alright, let's do it over here now. Put some windows up here. Some square windows, but rectangular windows. We'll put some shutters on them after a while. Put some upstairs and downstairs. I'm using Payne's Gray for the windows, by the way. I'm just dabbing it in there. Just dabbing in. Should be as tall as the door, I guess. And then don't forget, this is the horizon, I mean the vanishing point. So this one goes over here. And then this one goes right there. And onto that one. So that goes right there. It's kind of my way of doing it. Just imagining the line. I don't actually have to draw the line. Well, in some paintings, yes. But this is it's not necessary to draw the lines on this one. And then, how about another window above the door? Put that in line with all that. There we go. And maybe another one on this side over here. And maybe a fourth one up on the top floor there. Here we go. And then we can put one right here. Sometimes. How does that look? How does that look, kids? Look all right? All right, let's put a tree. Got a very skinny palm tree. I definitely want a palm tree in here. You know, something not in the center though. Maybe growing right here. I'm gonna put a palm tree that goes up into the sky. We'll put light on it in just a second. Let's get some of those darker areas from the inside. Then we'll do the lighter areas. Yeah, there's our palm. The beginning is of our palm tree. Palm trees are kind of fun to paint because you can layer them from the dark side on the bottom. And then go, and then you'll see in a second I'll put the green and the yellow on it. It'll make it look really good. It's one of the things about living in Florida is you got lots of palm trees. I mean, they're everywhere. And there's so many different types of palm trees. And I don't know, I'm not an expert, so I can't name them. I couldn't tell you what this one is called. There's a sable palm, and that might be what this one is called, but I'm not really sure. And then there's the, see, I can't even think of the other one. The other ones, I've had them in my yard, but I don't think I have any right now. There's one in the house next door, they got a palm tree. I watch that palm tree every time there's a hurricane. I sit out on the porch and watch the palm tree. I watch it blow. There. Now you see that sunlight is going to be reflecting off of that palm tree, so that's what I'll get next. Alright, let me see, what else can I do while I have this dark Payne's Gray on the brush. Let me define some shadows over here under these plants. And, you know, I'm purposely not using that slow dry stuff on the Payne's Gray because I kind of do want this to dry quickly. I'll get these windows. I'll make them look better in a second. And then this palm tree should have some kind of a shadow here, I guess. Okay. Okay, that looks good. That's coming out, right? Right? Okay, now I can get that brush back in the water. Now I'm going to need a small brush. I have a small brush right there. Get some of this blue and this yellow. Get some green here. Make a lot of green so I can paint the palm tree. Alright, let's get some of these palms on here now. Just keep getting that yellow in there. Yellow and blue. That Payne's gray is got a blue tone to it too, so it's actually helping me out right now to make these palm branches look a little greener. Let's see. Let's keep working it till it looks like a palm tree. Or a coconut tree. It's kind of the same tree, right? Except one has coconuts. We don't have coconut trees in this part of Florida. I don't know the reason for that. There's probably an explanation. Alright, now let's put some of this this dark titanium white and put a little, let me get this real thin, put a little line here. Where the light is hitting it on the side. There we go. There's our palm tree. I guess. Not sure. All right, let me clean this brush. Let me put some blues and some whites over here. Make some trim on this building here. Some blue trim will contrast the dark I mean the warm colors with the cool colors. I'm just going to put it straight from the tube. Go ahead and add some white to that. There we go. Looks kind of cool. Something here on the side there, like a little plaque or something. You put a top to each of these windows. A little something across the top. Not sure what that is. And then we'll put a little bit of blue on the side of these. If I can get it on there, it might still be, the yellow might still be wet. Here we go. Yeah, all right. Some kind of shutter, I guess. It's just like the contrast of the warm colors and the cool colors. Very impressionistic and very impasto, and it's intentional. It's what I wanted to do. It's kind of an experiment for me because I don't do it that much. I've tried it out with the gouache on the cards, and I guess that's my way of taking baby steps into doing stuff like this, was to do those cards. Kind of got away from the cards for a little while I do these canvases, and I'm enjoying doing them. They're very rewarding because I think in November, when the art auction is at the church, I'll be giving all these paintings to the art auction. And that'll raise money for the kids at the church. I think you may have heard me say that before. And I hope people buy them. I don't know. I don't have a really good grasp on what people want. But when I was doing the cards, everybody was writing me, asking me if they could have one. And I always have to tell them, well, I'm holding on to them for the art auction. So nobody's written to me about these ones yet. Maybe they're afraid too. Maybe they're afraid they're too expensive. Well, paintings can be expensive, you know. All right. My fingers are getting numb holding that thing. I don't know what else to do here. I think I kind of like it just the way it is. What do you think? Maybe I should add a little bit more highlights here. red to the front of that staircase, or that stoop, just to give it a little bit more light. That red kind of looks nice. You know what? I'm not going to do much more, but I think I am going to add a little bit more white to that sky. Since I got plenty of white left. I think I want that white to be a little bit more spread out. Very much illustration-y, you know. And put a little more in the water too. I don't know, I think it's done. Maybe a little bit of reflection over here. Maybe these walls would be reflecting in the water a little bit. Or maybe this tree would be reflecting right here. Maybe that's something I almost overlooked. That door would be reflecting. You know what? I'm going to call it done. I'm going to call it done, and I'm going to call it Miami Getaway or something. Our Miami Getaway. Alright, I'm dropping brushes everywhere. Can you see the painting? What do you think? Okay, I guess you can see without me lifting it up. There it is. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you probably tomorrow. Bye.